What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, continuing my deep dive into Neil Young. I still have blepharitis. This eye's kind of a little red. Still wearing sunglasses. We're days away from not wearing sunglasses. I've said that for days, but it's imminent. Today I have Neil Young's Way Down in the Rust Bucket, a live release, 11.5 in the archive series. This finally came out in 2021. It is a almost complete show from November 1990, couple months after the release of Ragged Glory, but not part of the official tour. The official tour wouldn't commence until like 91. This was like a one-off show in Santa Cruz, California, at the Catalyst. And if you're not familiar with Santa Cruz, it's not the easiest place to get to. It's on the coast. It's surrounded by mountains. A gorgeous drive to get to Santa Cruz. It's well worth driving to. The place is amazing. But you don't just hop on the interstate. You can't just hop on 80 or hop on 5 and you're there. It requires some winding roads. You drive through some beautiful little like mountain towns and up there in Northern California. But to score tickets for this show, it's special. And I was in Europe at the time, seeing The Dead. I had two friends in Berkeley trying to get tickets for the show. It had been announced a couple times and it was canceled. Finally, it was announced. They ended up not getting tickets. It was a really big deal. And a lot of times these really big deal shows kind of fail to live up to the hype just because the hype is big, right? This one delivers on all fronts. It meets the hype, if not exceeds the hype. 3 sets and an encore, 2.5 hours. The set list is incredible. 8 Ragged Glory songs, all of which sound amazing. A handful of like your typical live tracks, and a whole bunch of just juicy deep cuts that sound like they fit in exactly with everything else. There is a version of the world of Neil Young where the Ragged Glory tour looks more like this than it does sort of like Ragged Glory with a stream of hits, essentially. This one has a couple hits, but some of the deep cuts on here are the best versions of these deep cuts. And if the Ragged Glory tour is like this thunderstorm, this electrical storm, this like lightning storm rolling across the plains of America, from coast to coast with like lightning shooting off here and here and like balls of lightning rolling across and at times chaotic energy and feedback and noise and just chaos. This is the volcano. This is like Mount St. Helens erupting in one corner of the United States and a molten river of grunge just continuously flowing across the country for like 2.5 straight hours. Yeah, it's electric and it's electrifying and it's incredibly intense, but it doesn't quite have this sparks flying chaos energy of Ragged Glory. It just has this like, we are dialed in, we are focused, we are hitting our grooves. Neil's pushing the guitar. The rhythm section is pushing themselves. Everything about this is just, it's perfect. Like, it just doesn't get any better than this in so many ways. The sound is fantastic. The performances are amazing. It doesn't sound, there's a little gnat. Doesn't sound contrived, like, it doesn't really sound like Neil sat down and composed a set list for like maximum sort of like the maximum concert going experience. We're going to open with this and close with this and blowing wind in the wind in third to make a statement. It just feels like they started playing, they called some songs as they went along. We get to the third set and he's like, what are we going to play? Hey, let's dig out that T-Bone song we've only done like once or twice before and do that. Somehow we make it work. It is just an exhilarating ride from start to finish and pretty much worth every second of listening. The only thing missing, they played Cowgirl in the Sand, but the sound got cut out during that or it kept going in and out, so they just decided not to release it. It is on the DVD version of this, but it is not on the CD version of this. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Opens up with Country Home, and the band already sounds like they're just completely in full flight. We get 2 minutes of Neil just doing some of the tastiest guitar playing ever before we even get to the vocals. It is everything. It is just the best Country Home ever. It is just an absolutely nailed-in performance of this. And then the treats start coming already. Surfer Joe and the Sleaze, and Mo the Sleaze. A slower, grungier, much more kind of slow burning Ragged Glory type version of this. We still get that cool little sort of riff that drops, but it doesn't drop until after the first vocals. We still get those cool haunting backing vocals, but they're just a little more subdued. It's nowhere near this sort of like more fun poppy. I don't know if poppy's the right word, but it doesn't have that fun energy of the studio version. It is definitely much more of like a grungier, digging into the groove, taking our time version. And I think it's the best version of this. It's a great listen. It's like, if you are a fan of Reactor, this is a must-hear version of this song. Next is Love to Burn. Just an epic performance of Love to Burn. Neil's just pushing the envelope at all points in time. Like, all of these songs are pretty much clocking in at about 1 or 2 minutes longer than the studio version or the officially released version. This Love to Burn clocks in at like close to 14 minutes. All of those extra minutes are devoted to guitar solos and jamming, not to feedback at the end, not to noise. It's just devoted to like more jams. And yeah, there were parts where he's guitar soloing, and he's messing with his tone, or he's starting to do like kind of tweaking it a little bit, or trying to squeeze out noises instead of actually playing like an actual melodic solo. But it's all contained within these jams. And anytime Neil starts to stretch out, the drums start to get a little funky, or the bass steps up its game. The rhythm section is just killing it. Like Crazy Horse is just killing it. Just this flow of molten grunge for the entire time. After Love to Burn, we get Days That Used to Be. At the end of it, they finish it, and then they go back in and like sing it again. They sing like the last, or I think they sing the first verse again. Just like, it's kind of awkward, doesn't sound planned. But after that, Neil says something like, oh no, this is a different version of this. My notes are getting mixed up. At the end of this, he starts saying, people say don't rock the boat, a number of times, just kind of over and over again. He just starts repeating that phrase, like ad-libbing it as the song ends. Pretty cool. Then they play Bite the Bullet. And this sounds like the Pearl Jam version of Bite the Bullet. It's just, I don't know, it's just a little more grungier. It's just absolutely fantastic. It just somehow works perfectly. Then they play Cinnamon Girl, and Cinnamon Girl has never sounded more perfect than at this point in time. It's the perfect drop for this. It hits perfectly. It's the set closer. After that, Neil's like, all right, we're done. We're going off and doing something else. It's just, it works perfectly. Really, really good. And it's, that's the first set. Just an absolutely phenomenal What Country Home, Surfer Joe, Love to Burn, Days That Used to Be, Bite the Bullet, Cinnamon Girl. And with a couple of those songs, like with Country Home at 10, Love to Burn at like 14 minutes. An amazing first set. Second set opens up with Farmer John. Vibe is perfect. This is, I think, the best version of this. It's just, it doesn't seem as like purposely chaotic or aggressive as like the Ragged Glory and the Weld versions. It just seems grunge, man. It just seems pure, just them locked in on this Crazy Horse type groove thing. Nice scrappy solo at the end that kind of, adds those edges, but still the groove, the band's keeping the groove pretty tight. Cowgirl in the Sand would have gone next. We don't get it. Then we get a fantastic Over and Over. Neil just exploring on the guitar. And then we get Danger Bird. Oh my goodness. Starts off so nice and slow and patient. And they just kind of build it and build it and build it. And by the time we're fully in the Danger Bird, it feels just huge and epic. And like, this is the room you want to be in on this night. The vocals seem a little rough. Like maybe they didn't rehearse this song too much, but doesn't matter. Who cares? No complaints. Neil's getting some really warbly noises out of his guitar that are absolutely fantastic. Things are just getting crazy around the 2/3 mark. I mean, he's exploring this Danger Bird, having a great time. Then we get a Don't Cry No Tears, and this is the one where the song ends and they just do the first verse again, and then it ends and Neil's like, I just wanted to sing it a little bit more, bring a little Las Vegas ending. Like they're having fun. The band is responding to them. It just feels like they're jamming, like in their garage. They just happen to have an audience watching, and like That little moment right there that little moment in another one seemed to just best capture the vibe of this show. The band is having a good time and you can hear it. Then we get a sedan delivery. I think this is my favorite version of sedan delivery. One, it fits absolutely perfectly here in the set. Well, we had an F and up, T-Bone, where we had a Farmer John, Over and Over, Danger Bird, Don't Cry No Tears. Then we drop a sedan delivery. I think this is the best version. Gets sloppy in the middle, kind of stumbles when they seem to like forget where they are, but it works for this song. The solo at the end is great. The drums are just pounding away. The rhythm guitar and the bass are just chugging. Like, it doesn't sound like they're trying to make this like the chaotic, hectic version that I always wanted to be. They're just locked in on playing sedan delivery. And I think this is the definitive version of this song. Perfect. Then we get Roll Another Number for the Road. He's got a little snarl. He's got that little like snide, sneer little attitude in his vocal delivery that works. We get another sort of like, they repeat a line at the end, another sort of short little Vegas type ending just for the fun of it. Not as dramatic as the Don't Cry No Tears, but it's still a little bit fun. And then we close this set with Fucking Up. The middle jam in this just feels positive and uplifting. And this just, I don't know. This is absolutely great energy in this F and Up. Absolutely amazing. And the bass playing just excels. That's the end of set 2. Then for set 3, we open up with T-Bone. They drop a T-Bone. Not a fan of this song on the album, the studio version. I thought it was just kind of went on too long. It was just a jam. Neil yells the same handful of words over and over again. This is why you write songs like T-Bone, is because of moments like this. Because you're like 2 sets into a show, you don't want to go home, you want to play. You're like, what can we do that make the audience happy, that we haven't played for a while, that if we make mistakes and don't remember it, this is the environment to do it. Oh, let's do T-Bone. It's the best version of T-Bone. It's absolutely perfect. It makes sense. The guitar playing is epic. The band sounds like they're having a good time. There's a moment in the middle to even like double down on the repetitive nature of this song where he plays, I think it's like the same 3 notes in the solo. It's just like over and over and over and over and over. And it almost seems like the CD is skipping. Like that is how like locked into this repetitive groove Neil is. But like the whole Reactor thing was kind of inspired by his working with machines that were repetitive with his son. And here he's taking this song live and he's doubling down on that repetition in the middle of a song with this repetitious solo. It doesn't get better than this, people. It just doesn't get better than this. And I'm talking about T-Bone. Then they play Homegrown. Homegrown feels like it's an audible. Like so much so like pre-show, they're like, hey, do you remember T-Bone? I do. Okay, do you remember these songs? Yeah, okay, we're gonna play those. This almost seems like, hey, we just played T-Bone. Do you remember Homegrown? All right, let's give it a shot. It's like low-key grunge. It's absolutely fantastic. Beautiful. Apparently after this, the audience members were just throwing their goodies on the stage in honor of the song because it was Santa Cruz. And Santa Cruz is kind, as they say, with a capital K, even back in the day. So yeah, we get an awesome Homegrown. Then we get a Mansion on the Hill, and that opening riff in Mansion on the Hill and its repetition throughout the song, perfect. Every one of these Ragged Glory songs sounds amazing. And then we get where the title track comes, because as he introduces this song, he says, all right, now we're going to go way down in the rust bucket. Starts messing around with his guitar for a while, making noises. The band sounds like they're warming up. This goes on for about a minute, 15, 20 seconds. And then we drop right into Like a Hurricane. And like, at this point, the world is just perfect. This becomes one of the most epic shows of all time. The keyboard work with Frank when he's walking around playing that, what is he playing? Is it the String Man? Is that what he's playing? When he's playing the String Man, just adding those nice like floating chords in the back. Absolutely perfect. And this is one of those like, we don't have one of those epic endings or one of those epic breakdowns that we would have the Ragged Glory tour. But as every verse goes on and every solo gets played. It just seems like this song builds in intensity, but it's not getting faster. It's not getting louder. It's not getting crazier. It's just Neil's pushing the envelope. The drummer's doing something a little bit different. The bass is just doing something a little bit different. And like, I don't know, it's hard to describe unless you're actually listening to this like progressed over the course of its what? How many minutes is this one? 13 minutes. It just feels like, I don't know, like you're heating something up and it's just getting hotter as every minute passes. At the end, he starts singing I Want to Love You like 4 or 5 times before we get this final like solo. Get a little bit of noise at the end, about a minute of it, but we're not fully indulged like we would be on the following tour. And this is just where like the molten grunge, just like, this is the epitome of molten grunge. It is so good. Then we get a Love and Only Love after that. After the 13-minute Hurricane, we get a 13-minute Love and Only Love. And even at this point, the soloing by Neil is playful. It gets weird for a while. It's very dynamic and up and down. And the rest of the band is locked in every step. And we're not taking these wild swings like Fish does. We're like, oh, Neil's going over here. We got to make a sharp left and follow. Or, you know, there's not these like real wide dynamics, but there's enough within it to like keep you engaged and keep you invested and keep you just, I don't know, mesmerized while the molten lava just continues its path of destruction. And then we get the encore, which is a Cortez the Killer. And it's just beautiful. I mean, what more can you say? We get about 2 minutes of soloing before the first vocals. After, I think, like, it's the final verse before we get, like, the repetition of the verses, there's just these awesome dramatic chords that just come in that just make it feel like, yeah. We do get a little playful at the end with the reggae vibe. We're not really committing to that. But it's what this show is. This show is fun and playful. And even though we have the intensity of a Cortez and the intensity of a Hurricane and an intensity of these number of these songs, there is just this like feel-good jam band party vibe about this entire show that is just really unlike what Weld sounds like, or really what unlike a lot of Crazy Horse stuff sounds like. The energy of this is just mind-boggling great. I absolutely love this release. One of my favorite. Set list, performance, sound. There's no complaints, 0 complaints. If you have not heard this, make your life that much better by checking this out. Find this. It is worth it. It is just, yeah. It's a dream show. And it sounds amazing. I mean, whatever. That's it. What more can I say? I think I've covered all my notes about how perfect, how absolutely perfect this thing is. It is so much fun. That's all I got. Eventually, I will rank it. It will be towards the top of the list. It's a top 5 for sure. Gonna have to decide how much I need acoustic stuff when I do those rankings. But yeah, check this out. It's magic. Being way down in the rust bucket is a really, really good place to be, apparently. All right, that's all I got. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Go listen to this. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.